Have you ever opened the refrigerator, looked inside, and forgotten what you came for? Then you close the door, walk away, and suddenly remember, ah, yes, miso paste. This little foolish moment is not only old age, my friends. Young people do it too, though they pretend they don't. It is a small window into something very large. Much of our life is not guided by the clear mind we think we are using. Much of our life is guided by old instructions, old fears, old voices, old habits, running quietly in the back room. Maybe not, maybe not, maybe not, maybe not, maybe not. Sometimes we're like an old rice cooker that has been set to the wrong timer. Every morning, it does exactly what it was programmed to do. It simply follows the setting. Human beings are like this too. I have seen people who could run a business, raise children, survive war, sickness, death, betrayal, and still tremble like a child when one certain person raises their voice. I have seen kind people become cruel when they feel disrespected. I have seen strong women apologize for existing. I have seen men who never cry become controlled by shame until their hearts become hard like winter soil. Many people look surprised because they never asked that question. They thought the voice inside was their own. One evening, I was sitting with a cup of barley tea, half watching a television program. A very confident religious speaker was warning people about psychology, meditation, inner divinity, and all these dangerous ideas, he said. 2. He wore a nice suit. His hair did not move. His voice had the shine of authority. He said, in many words, do not look too deeply within. Do not trust the inner self. I smiled a little, not because I was mocking him, but because I have heard this kind of warning many times in many robes, many suits, many languages. Be careful of anyone who tells you that the door to your own inner life is forbidden. Of course, we must be humble. That is not wisdom. That is just ego wearing a festival mask. But there is a great difference between arrogance and recognizing that a sacred light lives in a human being. Many religious traditions, including the Bible, speak in deep symbols. Some people read them like a grocery receipt. They point to the ink and forget the meal. But when Jesus spoke, he often challenged people who loved rules more than truth. He warned that tradition can become a wall. He spoke of a kingdom not found by traveling to a palace, but discovered within. Now, I am not here to argue religion with you. At my kitchen table, we do not throw teacups over theology. But I want you to notice something. If a person believes they are only dirty, sinful, broken, unworthy, and powerless, what kind of life will they build from that belief? If a child hears, you are bad, you are stupid, you will never amount to anything, don't question, don't feel, don't speak, then even after that child becomes a grandparent, those words may still be sitting inside like old dust in the corner of a room. And dust does not leave because we pretend the room is clean. It leaves when we open the windows, take up the cloth, and wipe. This is the work of inner renewal. Some people call it psychology, some call it prayer, some call it meditation. Some call it repentance, not in the sense of beating yourself, but in the old meaning of turning the mind in a new direction. Names are many. Work is one. Let me tell you something simple. When I was young, I once watched a teacher play a trick on a group of students. He said one word again and again, quickly, and had them repeat it. Of course, cows drink water. Everyone laughed. But I did not laugh too much, because I thought, if a few seconds of repetition can make a person forget something obvious, what can years of repetition do? After enough repetition, a person may stand at the green light of life and still keep pressing the brake, not because they are stupid, because they are conditioned. A garden does not care whether the seed came from your mother, your priest, your teacher, the television, or a frightened neighbor. If you plant weeds, weeds grow. If you plant persimmon, maybe one day you will have sweetness, but even then you must prune and wait. The inner mind is like that. There is the part of us that makes decisions on purpose. This part is important, yes, but there is another part, deeper and older, that moves before words. It remembers smells, tones, faces, shame, comfort, danger. It can hear one sharp voice and return you to a room from 50 years ago. It can smell a certain soup and make you feel safe before you know why. This deeper mind is not evil. It is not stupid. It is powerful and loyal, but it is loyal to what it learned first, not always to what is true now. That is the problem. A dog who was beaten may flinch when a gentle hand approaches. The flinching is not a moral failure. It is memory in the body. Human beings are the same. One summer, while staying near the sea, I heard shouting from the house next door. A man's voice, a woman's voice, something falling. The night insects were singing. The air smelled of salt, and still my chest tightened. For a moment, I was not an old woman sitting by a window. I was a younger self hearing old troubles from another time. Nothing was happening to me in that moment. I was safe, but my body had already opened an old drawer. This is how memory works. It does not ask permission. Many people live this way for years and then blame themselves. My dear, sometimes you are not reacting to today. You are reacting to an old yesterday that was never comforted, never understood, never brought into the light. This is why professional help can be a blessing. A wise counselor, therapist, doctor, or spiritual guide can help us sort the old boxes without being buried under them. There is no shame in getting help. If your roof leaks, you call someone who understands roofs. If your heart has been leaking for many years, why must you fix it alone with only pride and green tea? But even with help, we must learn to notice our own patterns. Let us speak plainly about the subconscious mind. People make it sound mysterious, like a ghost in a temple. But in daily life, it is very practical. It is the reason you can walk to the station while thinking about dinner. It is the reason your hands know how to fold laundry without a lecture. It is the reason you reach for sugar when you feel lonely, or become silent when you feel criticized, or spend money when you feel empty, or attack before you can be abandoned. The repeated thing becomes the automatic thing. This can hurt us, but it can also save us. If fear can become automatic, courage can also become familiar. If self-hatred can be practiced, self-respect can be practiced. If worry can dig a deep road in the mind, gratitude can begin digging another road. Do not misunderstand me. I am not saying that cheerful thoughts cure all sickness, erase poverty, or fix every wound. Life is more complicated than slogans. Bodies need doctors, minds need care, communities need justice. A person with depression or trauma should not be told, just think better, as if pain is laziness. That is cruel. But I am saying that the thoughts we repeat, the images we feed, the beliefs we obey, they matter. They shape our choices, our nervous system, our relationships, our willingness to seek help, and our ability to receive goodness when it comes. The mind is not everything, but it is not nothing. Think of electricity. It can warm a room or burn a house. Same force, different use. The problem is not power itself. The problem is ignorance, neglect, and careless wiring. Many people are frightened of their own inner power because someone taught them that looking inside is dangerous. They were told, do not trust your inner life. Work. But obedience without awareness can become a cage. Even in scripture, the great teachers often warned against empty tradition. Not because all tradition is bad. I love tradition. Worked, I love the way we place chopsticks, the way we bow at the right moment, the way seasonal food teaches humility. In autumn, chestnuts. In spring, bamboo shoots. The year itself teaches us not to demand strawberries in every season of the soul. But tradition becomes harmful when it makes us afraid to meet truth. And soon, everyone is polite, and everyone is sick with things unsaid. This is not peace. This is a lid on a boiling pot. I have lifted many lids in my life. Steam burns if you wait too long. So how do we begin changing old programming? Not by declaring war on ourselves. Please do not do that. Some people hear about self-improvement and become even more violent toward their own heart They shout inside, "Stop being weak, stop being afraid." This is like yelling at a frightened child to relax. No, we begin with noticing. If the answer is, "This feeling is 6 years old," then do not let it drive the car. You can say quietly, "Thank you for trying to protect me, but I am here now." This sounds simple. It is not easy. Simple things are often the hardest. Cooking rice is simple, but if you rush the water, ignore the flame, or keep lifting the lid, you ruin it. The mind also needs steady practice. Second, question inherited beliefs. Take a notebook if you like. Write down the sentences that seem to run your life. I must please everyone. I am not good with money. People always leave. My needs are selfish. It is too late for me. I cannot change. Then ask, is this a fact, or is it an old family song? Some families pass down songs without melody, only fear. The grandmother sang it to the mother sang it to the child, and now the child is 80 and still humming. You are allowed to stop singing. Respecting your ancestors does not mean repeating their wounds. Third, replace the inner insult with a truer sentence. Not a silly sentence. Not, "I am the emperor of the moon, and nothing can touch me." The mind knows when you are lying. Use something believable and strong. Instead of, "I am worthless," say, "I am learning to treat myself with respect." Instead of, "I always fail," say, "I can take the next small step." Instead of, "God is far away and angry," say, "I am willing to listen for wisdom within and around me." Instead of, "I am trapped," say, "I may have more choices than I was taught to see." Repeat these not like magic spells, but like seeds. Seeds do not become daikon the same afternoon you water. You wait. You protect the little green shoot from being stepped on by your own impatience. Fourth, practice quiet. This is difficult now. The world is noisy. Even the toilet seat has buttons. Everything beeps, flashes, announces, updates, asks for your opinion. A person can live all day reacting and never once listening. Meditation does not need to be dramatic. You do not need a mountain cave. You do not need special clothes. Sit in a chair. Let your feet touch the floor. Breathe gently. When thoughts come, bow to them and let them pass like neighbors walking by your gate. 5 minutes is enough to begin. In the quiet, you may first hear noise, old worries, shopping lists, regrets, angry speeches you should have given in 1973. Let them come. The pond is muddy when first stirred. After some practice, something deeper may appear, a steadier awareness, a space between feeling and action. A small lamp inside. This is precious. Many people fear this quiet because they think they will find darkness. Perhaps they will find some, but they may also find strength, tenderness, creativity, and a presence that no institution can package and sell. This is why some authorities dislike inward people. A person who knows how to sit quietly and listen deeply is harder to control. They may still attend church, temple, synagogue, mosque, or no building at all. That is not the point. The point is, they no longer outsource their soul completely. They listen, they discern, they test the fruit. If a teaching makes you more loving, more honest, more courageous, more humble, and more alive, pay attention. If a teaching makes you terrified, dependent, hateful, ashamed of your humanity, and obedient to people who benefit from your fear, be careful, very careful. There is a kind of religion that opens the heart, and there is a kind that locks the door and sells you the key every Sunday. There is a kind of psychology that heals, and there is a kind of only gives fancy names without compassion. There is a kind of self-help that empowers, and there is a kind that blames suffering people for not smiling hard enough. Wisdom must be tested in ordinary life. Does it help you apologize? Does it help you stop repeating harm? Does it help you rest? Does it help you tell the truth without becoming cruel? Does it help you care for the body you have, not the imaginary body you wish you had? Does it help you become less afraid of your own mind? These are good questions. Not sometimes, always. Burn toast? Unlucky. Rain on laundry day? Unlucky, son forgot to call. Unlucky. She wore the word like an old coat. One day, after many years, she began changing the sentence. She was too honest for that. Small change, big difference. When the bus was late, she noticed the camellias near the stop. When her knee hurt, she called the clinic instead of only complaining. When her daughter criticized her, she said, "I will think about that," instead of swallowing poison for 3 days. Her life did not become a fairy tale. No prince arrived with a pension plan, but her inner weather changed. More sunlight entered. This is reprogramming, not pretending, practicing. The awakened mind says, "This may be how I learned to survive." Ah, that sentence is important. What helped you survive may not help you become free. Silence may have protected you in a harsh home, but later, silence may keep love away. Suspicion may have protected you from betrayal, but later, suspicion may poison every friendship. Perfectionism may have won approval, but later, it may steal joy from every task. Even a winter coat becomes a burden in summer. So we thank the old protection, and when the season changes, we put it down. This is not betrayal. This is maturity. Some people worry, if I change, will I lose my faith, my family? Maybe you will lose some illusions. Maybe you will disappoint people who preferred you obedient and small. Maybe old relationships will need new honesty. That can be uncomfortable. But inner growth does not require you to throw away everything. You can keep the good dishes and discard the cracked ones. You can honor your grandmother's kindness and still reject her fear. You can love your tradition and still refuse its shame. You can read sacred words and also study the mind. Truth is not so fragile that one honest question will break it. The work is not to become someone else. The work is to become less controlled by what was never truly you. Am I feeding resentment? Am I feeding courage? Am I feeding the old story that I am powerless? Am I feeding the quiet knowledge that life still moves through me? Then choose one small action. Make the phone call. Take the walk. Speak the kind sentence. Set the boundary. Turn off the program that fills you with fear. Read something that strengthens your mind. Pray without begging. Meditate without performing. Rest without guilt. And when you fail, because you will fail sometimes, do not make failure into a temple. Learn and begin again. In Japan, when a ceramic bowl breaks, some artisans repair it with gold. The crack remains, but it becomes part of the beauty. People like to use this as a pretty metaphor, and it is pretty. Remember, someone must do the repair. Gold does not jump into the crack by itself. Healing requires participation, not force, not panic, participation. Your subconscious mind has received many instructions. Some were loving, some were foolish, some were cruel, some were never meant for the life you are living now. You are allowed to update the instructions. You are allowed to enter the inner room. You are allowed to open the window. You are allowed to discover that beneath fear, beneath shame, beneath all the labels placed on you, there is still something steady, bright, and alive. Call it spirit. Call it awareness. Call it the image of God. Call it the quiet self. I do not mind what name you use. Names are like cups. The water is what matters. Tonight, when the house becomes quiet, sit for a moment. Do not ask the television what you are. Do not ask old fear. Do not ask the voices that needed you small. Listen deeper. You may hear only your breathing at first. Good. That is life, still choosing you. And if life is still choosing you, then perhaps you can choose differently too. Not all at once, not perfectly, but sincerely, patiently, like tending a small garden after a long winter. Pull one weed, plant one seed, water what is good. Tomorrow do it again.